Survivor Series predictions. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling.
It's that time again. My favorite time. It's time to put the money where your mouth is. See if you know WWE. We've kind of switched back and forth a little bit. You won 2 times ago with the perfect. I won last time. So we're going head to head again.
I'm going to be perfect this week too.
No. I hope not.
5 matches. That's all we got on this card, but 2 of them are War Games matches, and those matches are going to take an hour each. I guarantee it. I bet it's going to be a long one.
Yeah, 45 plus, yeah.
Before we get started, I do want to say that Monday, December 2nd, we will be doing our first Twitch watch-along live stream. Come join it, twitch.com/COD WrestlePod. Like all of other socials, we'll be doing that live, so hope to see you guys there. But let's get right into this. We're going to start out U.S. title match. LA Knight taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. Who wins it?
Yeah. So as I thought about this match, I really found myself wanting Shinsuke. I was like, man, I really, really think Shinsuke could use this. I think maybe ultimately that's the final person. Like, I don't think this is a one-off, right? I think that's who eventually gets it. So if I had to book the match myself, I assume there's probably some sort of wonky finish, some sort of DQ. Maybe Shinsuke brings back the mist again, something like that. So LA wins probably via like a DQ, and we just kind of continue that feud. There's nothing here that makes me think LA is going to drop the belt. It's been kind of a little too soon for this match to be kind of on a PLE. It's kind of surprising, honestly, because we haven't really got a whole lot of back and forth. So just for that, I'm going to say LA retains, something like that. You got to keep the feud going. So you don't have LA just straight outright beat Shinsuke. But I don't think Shinsuke's taking that belt off LA.
Yeah, exactly. When I saw that they announced this match at Raw, kind of randomly they announced it, they threw it up there. I was like, oh, okay. Pleasant surprise, but like, oh, that seems quick.
Yep.
We really haven't seen any interaction between the two of them except for Shinsuke getting some cheap shots, attacking after the bell type stuff. LA Knight hasn't even acknowledged him with his words or anything. So this feels a little bit rushed, but like in a good way. I'm glad that we're getting it. There's no way LA Knight's dropping his belt here, but I'm also with you. I don't see this being a clean finish. I don't think we get any pin. I think it's going to be some sort of wonkiness, like you said. Maybe the mist comes back. And any other way than a pin, it's not going to happen. Neither of these guys are taking a pin. LA Knight keeps the title here.
Yeah, and we've had, those little promos back and forth where Shinsuke has given the promos his reasoning. But like you said, there's been no interaction. LA has yet to take a microphone and really respond or really address Shinsuke. So maybe he does do that the night before Survivor Series.
He will.
But even then, still not enough. Let's really give this feud kind of what it deserves. Let's get more reason for Shinsuke to kind of be that like terror in LA Knight's reign and kind of keep that going.
Completely agree. Let's move it on. The one match that got added at Raw that I'm most excited about, I think it has potential to be match of the night. We got the IC title match. Braun Breaker taking on Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. Triple threat action here. Who wins it?
This is probably the one I went back and forth on the most.
Wow.
I think, at least for my money, I don't think Braun Breaker's retaining. I think that's the reason it's a triple threat match. I think there's some sort of way, either Ludwig's pinning Sheamus or vice versa. I don't see Braun really kind of getting that clean finish over both of them, because to me, it kind of just doles that out. It eliminates 2 challengers at one time. Now you could run it back and be like, oh, he didn't pin me, you pinned whoever. So for this one, my pick is going to be Sheamus.
Ooh.
There's not much rhyme or reason to why I'm picking Sheamus, other than we keep saying it every time he challenges for this IC title. He needs it to be a Grand Slam champion. He keeps trying. He keeps failing. I don't know how many more chances you have to get Sheamus that IC title. So for me, it's kind of like, just give it to him here, have him drop it in a month or something, maybe Saturday night's main event, something like that. Just a quick thing to say, hey, I'm a Grand Slam champion. And then you can really get on to the real feud of Braun Breaker versus Kaiser.
Yeah, I mean, first off, this match is going to be match of the night, in my opinion. They are going to beat the holy hell out of each other. It's going to be fantastic. I don't see Braun Breaker losing this match. Ooh. I'm going to keep it on Braun Breaker. My opinion might have been swayed if we hadn't just seen a month-long title reign of Jey Uso. If Jey didn't just rip the belt off him for a month, that felt kind of forced. That felt like it was WWE playing the hand that they were dealt in terms of Jay being so over. You got to give him something in that moment. So they were like, screw it. We'll delay Braun by 1 month. Let Jay have it. Now that he's got the belt back, I think that Braun Breaker is going to have a long title reign that ends maybe Royal Rumble at the earliest, in my opinion. I do think that if Braun Breaker gets upset here, it will be Sheamus. They will do the Grand Slam title route. But all I really hope from this match is I hope that Ludwig and Braun really stand out. I hope Sheamus does the job for both of them in terms of just like letting them beat the hell out of them. But I think Braun comes out on top at the end. We get some double spears. He might stack them.
Yeah, already differing. I found myself bouncing back and forth because ultimately that title is going to be Kaiser's one day whenever Braun is. I think that that's probably the feud that Braun drops that belt to Kaiser to kind of move on to the main title. And I found myself saying this would be a great time. I think it's too early, but I think this would be a great time, or maybe the eventual plan is you've got Gunther kind of sitting there in the main card with the heavyweight title, unsure of himself, telling Kaiser, go make a name for yourself, da-da-da-da-da. Well, Gunther could lose that title. Kaiser could win that IC, and eventually Kaiser could come back, double back. I think that that's maybe how you get that Gunther-Kaiser feud down the line eventually.
Yeah.
Not saying, Monday we're going to get that, but that's going to be the eventual one, and I'm really excited for that.
I agree. I think Braun Breaker eventually loses it to Ludwig at some point down the line, because you do want to line up Ludwig and Gunther at some point, and in order to make Ludwig be able to stand next to Gunther in a relevant way, in an actual imposing fashion, he's got to win the IC title. And being able to say, I beat Braun Breaker, would be a notch on his belt that he could look at Gunther at and be like, hey, bro, you couldn't do this. So
yeah, that's very fair. Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for Sheamus. I don't think it's the...
fella.
I don't think it's... if I had to sit there and be smart about it, Braun Breaker's probably the choice. But I'm like, man, it's a triple threat. Like, somebody... like, there's a reason it's a triple threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're badass and they're going to smack the hell out of each other, and they're all going to be doing stupid spots that their big bodies shouldn't be doing, but they're going to do it anyway. Like throwing your body at the corner of an announce table for no reason. It's going to be awesome.
Maybe that's what he does. Maybe Braun does that clothesline to the outside, but maybe he does like double. Maybe he just clears
That'd be sick, the announce table.
Yeah.
There's no commercials, though.
Yeah. You just got to eat
That's
it.
the ultimate commercial
You
call.
just got to eat it at that point.
They just lay there for 5 minutes. All right, we'll move it on. You mentioned Gunther. We do have a match. World Heavyweight Championship action here. The seemingly lost Gunther takes on Damian Priest, the king of the streets, for the World Heavyweight title. Who wins it?
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not a stipulation, like a street fight. I thought, king of the streets,
that'd be cool.
Something like that. I thought we'd maybe get. As much as Priest has been booked to seemingly take that belt off of Gunther, and as much as Gunther's really unsure of himself, something I don't really remember a heavyweight champion doing, really at any time, I'm still going to go Gunther here. I feel like Gunther probably holds that belt until Mania. I don't know who that next challenger might be for Gunther on the back end. I thought Priest did make an interesting point about what if Gunther loses? What's on the other side for Gunther? Well, even if Gunther wins, I don't really know what's on the other side for him. So that'll be interesting. Plus, there's Judgment Day stuff with Finn kind of looming in the air. Like Finn's kind of hinted at, well, Damian Priest is still getting, challenging for the title, all this stuff. So not saying there's going to be interference, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Finn does stick his nose in this match.
So I think this is going to go one of two ways. And I think no matter what, Gunther wins it. I think you're right. Either Finn Balor shows up, screws Damian again, and we continue whatever the hell is going on between Finn and Damian. Or I think Gunther is BSing this entire thing, and he's gonna semi-squash Damian. I'm not saying it's gonna be a 1-minute match, but it's gonna be something where Gunther is obviously not lost. He is the ring general. He is Gunther, and he's going to make a statement here. And then when Damian asks, what happens after this, well, Gunther's just going to be like, afterwards, he's going to be like, you really thought I was lost? I am the ring general. I'm the greatest champion of all time. And we just take Gunther off from there. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. You can sign me up.
Gunther.
And yeah, as I said about Finn Balor, like it is looming in the background, like the potential of it happening. Like Finn keeps hinting at it. I mean, they had the match and Damian has not even acknowledged Finn really from that point on. He just was like, I did the job. Like, I beat Finn. He's off on the side, whatever. But
it seems like they've done such a good job in this buildup of like everybody knows that Gunther's probably going to win it. If you're a wrestling fan that just kind of, looks at it logically, like Gunther's going to have a long title reign here. And WWE's done such a good job of just giving Damian like the entire buildup of the entire story. They're just like, we're going to make them believe Gunther at the end of the day. So just give all the push to Damian here during this entire build. And so what you're doing is you're giving us the inkling in our head of Damian could win it, right? That 1% that they say that they aspire to get. And then you also are making us totally forget that Finn Balor and them are over here and still want that revenge. So that if that does happen at Survivor Series, it's going to be like, oh yeah, they do hate it. Yeah, this is a thing. And then that, rekindles that storyline. And then you have fire for both guys leaving the match, right? You have Damian then back with the Judgment Day story, and you're kind of excited about that part. And then you have Gunther winning, and then you're like, oh, more title reign for Gunther.
Yeah. And before people would text in the comments, we know Finn Balor has mentioned Damian Priest. I saw that a few times about, well, he mentioned Damian Priest on Raw. Yeah, we know, but Damian's just out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
He's off on his own. He could not care less.
Yep.
Couldn't care less, I guess.
The two big ones. The reason that we love Survivor Series in recent day so much, it is Survivor Series War Games for a reason. One of the best matches in all of professional wrestling. 5v5, one participant at a time enters the match. The advantage goes to Team Bianca here after the win on Monday night over Nia Jax. So they will have the second entrant come in first to get the advantage there. But we do have Team Liv, Nia, Tiff, Raquel, and Candice taking on Team Rhea, Bianca, Bayley, Io, Naomi. War Games. Who wins it?
Yeah, I'm conflicted about this one. Not in the sense of I was going back and forth. I'm conflicted because I'm like 99% sure it's going to be Team Bianca, Team Rhea. Can't really go against the Avengers here that have kind of assembled. But I'm conflicted because you have both women's champions, the Speed champion, Miss Money in the Bank on the other side. Now, we might get a cash-in attempt some way, somehow, and maybe that kind of adds to it. But I just think it's Team Bianca, Team Rhea, however you want to describe it. Like, Rhea Ripley is Rhea Ripley. Bianca Belair is Bianca Belair. They're on the same team. They hardly ever lose. What else kind of more needs to be said? Now, there is a little bit of uncertainty, kind of how they hinted at Monday night. Their inability to kind of all get along. Like, they all kind of want different things, and are they going to be able to work as a team? That's kind of the storyline that we're going to kind of get through that side of it. At the end of the day, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
I think that Team Rhea, Team Bianca, they're going to win this match, and they're going to look impressive doing it.
So you went with Team Rhea. I'm going with Team Liv. I am. I think that there's just too much. There's too much up in the air about the Rhea, Bianca, Naomi, Bayley, all that circulation that's been happening within the past couple or week on WWE programming. I do think that Bayley probably takes a pin here, and that sets up kind of a triangle of story with Bianca and Naomi and Bayley, because Naomi obviously has Bayley's back, and Bianca didn't want Bayley in this, and now she took the loss for him. And also Bianca is still looking for Jade's attacker, so we're just going to have a bunch of stuff going on there. And I think that Team Liv needs this overall. I think that you should have, like you said, you got your two main card champions on there on one team. If your two champions can't find a way to win a match, then it feels like, well, that doesn't make much sense to me. I get that they have the superhumans on the other team, but it just feels like Team Liv is gelling. Team Rhea's not. And so I'm going to take the team that's gelling.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, I felt terrible. Like, I don't even know what word I want to use there, but like
terror twins.
There's both women's champions, and like I said, the Speed champion, Miss Money in the Bank. That side is the more decorated side. That's the more accomplished side as of right now. Yeah. Obviously not career wise, but as of right now, like, that's who I should back. I should look at this and be like, well, that team's got the champions. That team's got everything. Why, but it is Rhea, Bianca, and to your point, you said you think Bayley takes the pin. There might even be a way in which some way, somehow Bayley helps deliver. I'm not saying Bayley gets the pin, but maybe she delivers the one of the final moves to take out a bunch of Team Liv. maybe Rhea gets the pin. Maybe she helps lead them to kind of victory, but just to get that trust in Bianca.
True. I mean, I think what's ultimately going to come into play here is Rhea saying that she doesn't care who's on her team as long as they leave her live. So I think there's going to come a time in this match where there's an obvious win sitting there for Team Rhea, and she decides to go with Liv instead. Kind of in the same way, with Roman and Seth at WrestleMania when he had Cody in the moment. It's going to be that sort of thing for Team Rhea, and that is going to eventually lead to their downfall here at the match. So
yeah, I think that's a very good point. I mean, to your credit, you said you think Team Liv needs the win. I couldn't agree more, and that's kind of bad coming from us. Like you shouldn't say that about your champions and your Money in the Bank holders. So they're in kind of a weird spot, and they've kind of booked themselves kind of in a corner because you've got, like you said, the superheroes on one team and the champions on the other. It's like, well, you're in a rock and a hard place here.
Maybe Dom swings in there.
Yeah,
who knows?
Maybe we get a Dom appearance some way somehow.
Maybe
that's why Team Liv can't win, because there is no Dom appearance because it's inside of a war game.
He can climb up there. It's all good. He can take a rip tie from the top.
Yeah, and I do think also something that comes into play that maybe helps cost Team Liv is that Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, Candice LeRae kind of triangle.
Yep.
That is something we've kind of seen the seeds planted at Tiffany and Candice as well. Maybe that rears its head, and that's what ended up costing them.
I mean, Candice just looks like she has the target to be pinned in this match, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one, like, ooh, you're probably going to take it, huh? Aren't you? So hopefully that doesn't happen.
I can't really say that about anybody on Team Bianca. I mean, I guess Bayley would be the one I would pick.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, out of anybody in this match, I'm like, Candice LeRae is probably taking the pin.
Yeah. Final match. The
bigot.
Cinema to be had is what this match is going to be. Bloodline Civil War Games match. You got OG Bloodline plus CM Punk taking on Bloodline 2.0 plus Bronson Reed. Who wins this one?
Yeah. God, this one's going to be good. Oh. It's going to be fantastic. Oh. I'm going with Bloodline 2.0.
Ooh.
So I'm going with Team Solo here with Bronson Reed. The same thing that you kind of mentioned with Team Rhea, Team Bianca on the last about the uncertainty. That's how I feel about original Bloodline right now. I feel there's a little bit of uncertainty with Roman and Jay at one point. They kind of had their differences at the beginning, but like not so much anymore. But does that happen? Originally, there's Roman kind of had an issue trusting Sammy. Well, now you got Punk kind of inserted into this. You have Heyman coming back, but Heyman's also like winking at Jimmy, and Jimmy's overly supportive of the wise man, but that also doesn't feel right because it's like, well, you've never been super overly supportive of the wise man. The wise man's dressed like Solo. To me, Bloodline 2.0 just has that feeling about them. Like they're more of a cohesive unit. To Solo's credit, they kind of all fall in line when he does say, hey, listen to me, do as I say. They all do. Whereas Team Roman here, they're kind of more individuals. I mean, yes, they are the Bloodline, but you know what I mean, right?
Yep.
So a little bit of uncertainty there. Just all in all, I don't know if I can sit there and trust Team Roman to stay on the same page. Ultimately, I think that's what's going to cost them. And to me, if Team Roman wins here, where do you go from there in terms of the storyline? You know what I mean? You're just like, well, that's that.
Exactly. I think that if Bloodline 2.0 doesn't win this match, that's that situation. There's still more innings in the baseball terminology they always use for this Bloodline story to be had here, to be played. And I just think that giving OG Bloodline a clean win in a War Games environment would feel very solidifying for them. Like, why would they have to go back and worry about Bloodline 2.0 again if they won this thing? I also think that something is going to happen that is game-changing for the Bloodline. Maybe a Jimmy turn, maybe a Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns. That Sammy turn that I keep wanting, that may happen. I don't really think it will. You also have Seth Rollins. He's not done with Bronson Reed. He could come in here and screw that match up in some way, shape, or form because Punk hates him, Roman hates him. And then, like you said, just the overall team chemistry right now with OG Bloodline does not feel good. They're not vibing. They're not gelling like that. So I just think that Bloodline 2.0 is going to get the win here in satisfying fashion. I don't know how, though.
Yeah, and maybe there's some sort of debut. People keep hinting at more members being added to one side or the other, so maybe we get something like that. So like you said, about the Seth Rollins point, it's weird that on Raw we heard nothing. Now on SmackDown we might, when Punk and Roman are there talking, we might hear something from Seth then. He might just crash the party. But it is weird that Rollins was considered. Roman shuts it down. Punk goes in. Obviously, he's going to fight Bronson Reed pretty much. That's who Rollins is fighting. So it seems weird that there was nothing from Rollins here. Some way it's going to be a masterpiece. It's going to be 45, 50 minutes of you're on the edge of your seat. You think it's going to go this way. It's going to go this way. Whatever we think's going to happen, it probably isn't right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They always, like, when you think you got it, they swerve.
Who do you think takes the pin?
Well,
Roman again, right? I think you just keep pinning Roman.
You think you just keep pinning
you
Roman?
You just keep nailing him into the ground. You keep saying, nope, you're lower and lower and lower. Just keep dropping a peg every time that he takes a pin.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would add probably the most because Roman is continually trying to search for himself. He still hasn't apologized, those sort of things. Still hasn't really taken accountability for something. Yeah. So I could see that. I could also see maybe, I don't know, maybe some way, shape, or form, maybe Jimmy takes the pin. I mean, what do you think? Well, see, so I'm thinking like, it depends on who you think's going to turn. If you think Sammy's going to turn, he's not taking a pin. If you think Jimmy's going to turn, he's not taking a pin. Maybe it's Jay. You know what? I'm going to say it's Jay.
No yeet.
Why not?
No yeet.
I don't really know who's going to take the pin here, but there's so many different ways to go about it that it's like, you could pick really any one of them, and I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, Roman's probably
At the end of the day, it's going to be an hour-long match.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be cinematic as all hell. There's going to be a twist and turn. It's going to be absolutely spectacular, and we're going to be walking into Monday with a completely different playing field for Bloodline. So looking forward to that. But those are our Survivor Series predictions. We differed a good amount here. That's going to be a battle. That's going to be a battle.
What, 2 out of 5 matches, right?
2 out of 5.
So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think I'm right about the women's War Games match. I don't see how you're right on that one. Triple threat one, I maybe get it. We might both end up getting 4 right here some way, somehow, and tying this one. So
we shall see. But let us know in the comments what your predictions are. We would love to hear them. But as always, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. If you want to come talk to us, follow us on all of our socials and then comment below. We love reading your guys' comments, getting involved. And then we also have a Discord. It's in our link tree with all of our socials. Follow that. Come talk to us in our Discord. It'll be up and running during Survivor Series, so we'd love to talk to you. But I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.